Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our very first weekly webinar of our 2022 series. My name is Jessie Morris, and I'm going to be taking you guys through a look at the symptoms and preventative measures around burnout. This is something that has been really on people's minds since, we all went home for COVID, and then some of us never went back, and some of us, our lives just changed because nothing is as it was. So we're gonna talk about burnout. We're gonna talk about how to tell that you're starting to go down that way. And also we're going to talk about how to prevent it, and then some stuff about how to recover once you realize that you have fully gone to the side of being burnt out. I'm going to share my screen so you guys can all see my presentation, and I'm also going to mute the chat that is apparently firing off right now. Okay. Oh, too many windows. Okay, can everybody see my screen? It says Burnout Northern Lights.
Yes, we can see it.
Excellent. Okay, so our starting point today is to talk about what burnout is. If you are in this webinar with me, I assume that you have at least a passing notion that that burnout is something that might be, lurking for either you or your staff or your loved ones. Basically, burnout is a state of physical and mental exhaustion. It basically sucks the pleasure out of the important aspects of your life. Your ability to spend time with friends, family, or to engage positively with your career, your hobbies, all of those important things. But what is it really? It's a severe stress condition that leads to physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion. And it's worse than ordinary fatigue in that it makes it difficult to cope with the stressors of everyday life coming from your basic responsibilities. So that's what burnout really is. It can lead to physical conditions like being exhausted, or hair loss, or skin breakouts, weight gain. All of those are some of the symptoms that you'll see when your body starts to actually be impacted by burnout. So some causes of burnout. One of the major ones that you see in type A personalities is people who push it. They push it and push it and push it. They want to get things done, but they, in doing so, will neglect their own needs, which leads to kind of going down the road of burning yourself out and not being able to continue to uphold that high standard that you hold yourself to. Another cause of burnout is a lack of feedback and support. So you're going along, you're doing your best, but you maybe have murky success metrics, or there might be role conflict or ambiguity. This is usually a workplace thing, but it can also be a home life thing. And sometimes a lack of recognition can also be a cause of burnout. A values disconnect can also lead to burnout. Values disconnect would be where priorities of maybe your employer and yourself, or your direct supervisor and yourself don't connect right. So it causes you to feel like you're failing, or it causes you to kind of receive more pressure than what you would normally have. And then a third one is workplace toxicity. So this one is kind of unexpected. It's a sneaky one. What lots of people don't know is that burnout can be contagious. And within a team or a workplace, we're not all necessarily equipped to support the mental health of our coworkers. We care about them and we want to, but we're not necessarily equipped to distance ourselves from those peripheral stressors or those secondhand stressors. And that can lead to a vicious cycle of burnout. A really good example of this was when I was in library school. I would be sitting in the student lounge, eating lunch, or maybe doing some readings for class. And one of my classmates would come in just bleeding stress. You could just see it like funneling out of the top of her head. Like she was so stressed. And she would come in and, hey, how are you? Oh, I'm so stressed. And it would just all over everybody in the student lounge. And all of a sudden we're wondering, hey, like, should I be worried about this? Maybe this is more intense than I thought it was. Maybe I need to go work on this, or, it added pressure to the rest of us. And so then we were all stressed. So that's another thing to be aware of, is that in the act of trying to support your coworkers, you can take on their stress, and that can be quite bad for you. So some of the symptoms of burnout, number one is having a sense that you have nothing more to give. You are physically, emotionally, mentally depleted. There's nothing left. You don't have room in your head for social gatherings. You don't have room in your heart for real relationships. You don't have room in your body for your hobbies. There is nothing. You just collapse onto the couch. You're detached. You're not doing much. It's you, a glass of wine, and a bowl of popcorn, and that's the whole thing. Having a pessimistic outlook. This is basically where small things will lead to like really increased irritability. You feel hopeless about the future for your job or a relationship or one of your hobbies. And this can lead to more severe mental health concerns, specifically depression and anxiety. Another symptom of burnout is physical. So frequent illness, burnout can actually lower your immunity and your body's ability to cope with the incoming stimuli to your body. It can cause a change in your sleep habits. That might mean more sleep, or it might mean an inability to sleep. And this can also lead to headaches, muscle pain, and low energy, complete inability to get out of bed in the morning. This is something that I've absolutely experienced in my own life. The last time I was burnt out, I ended up with 6 weeks of pneumonia, which was really brutal, and I don't recommend it to anyone. So it's a good reason to keep an eye on these things. So early signs that you might be burning out. Mental fatigue. So you're ending your day completely drained, you're exhausted, you don't have the energy to commit to your hobbies or to socialize. Feeling unappreciated. You feel unseen, you feel isolated, you're taken for granted or mistreated by your coworkers. One of the most important things to note here is that this is a feeling, right? So whether or not it's true, this is how you feel, and that's really has a huge impact on you. You also let small things frustrate you, and they distract you unreasonably. So an email that you read in a certain tone might completely set you off for the rest of the day, or it might cause you to kind of spiral into negative thoughts. And then this will also lead to you falling behind at work and not being able to concentrate on your regular tasks. Another early sign of burnout is dread. So you get those Sunday scaries where Monday feels like a looming monster that you can't avoid, and you're ending your weekend without having gained back the energy that you need in order to do another week. You lie in bed and you dread the alarm, and you might be more prone to hitting the snooze button multiple times, cutting off those self-care moments in the morning of getting cleaned up, of having your coffee, of eating a breakfast, picking out, something thoughtful to wear for the day. Those important moments where you're alone with yourself and you're taking care of yourself get cut short because you're hitting the snooze button because you dread starting the day. It's not great. Okay, so ways to prevent burnout. Number one is early recognition. So be aware of the warning signs of burnout. You're here, so obviously you are a little bit interested in it. And along those lines, it's really important to resist denying that you might be burning out. You can't power through burnout. What a lot of people do is they just hold on for another day. They just hold on to get past the end of that project. They deny that it's happening long enough to get to the end of whatever, the week or the project. And it causes their body to continue to deteriorate because burnout doesn't just go away. Burnout doesn't just go on hold. So another thing that you can do to prevent burnout is to practice active self-reflection. This might take the form of journaling, or this might take the form of, some kind of creative hobby, doing things like slow movement exercises like yoga or meditation or Tai Chi, moments where you can be kind of alone with your mind to process your thoughts, let them in, let them out, that kind of thing. You want to spend time evaluating your typical weekly routine and eliminate unnecessary items. Another thing that you can do is engage in regular exercise. Move your butt. Set a reasonable goal and meet it every day. Combine exercise and fresh air. It has been proven to have massive mental and physical health benefits. For myself personally, when I'm starting to feel burnt out, the very first thing that I do is I go outside. I take my dogs and I walk as far and for as long as I can, and I'm alone with my thoughts, and I think through every crazy thought that's in my head, and I just give myself time, exercise, and fresh air to just breathe in and breathe out. And it's very helpful. Some more ways to prevent burnout: a healthy diet. Resist the temptation to rely solely on comfort foods to lift your mood. This can lead to sorts of mood swings and energy deficiencies. Your body functions best and your mind functions best when you're getting, a normal range of minerals and not vegetables. I mean, vegetables, yes, but like minerals and nutrients. So focusing on a very narrow range of comfort foods will actually hurt you in the long run. Taking personal time. Take time every single day to enjoy your personal hobbies or your self-care practices. That might mean taking time to do some journaling, or taking time to do physical exercise, or taking time to do, your crocheting or your knitting or whatever it is that you enjoy doing. Maybe you like hitting things. Take time to go outside and swing a bat around. Just stay away from my car. Do the things that you need to do that take care of you. And then the last thing is to keep in contact with your support systems. When you are burnt out, the tendency to lock things down and go into kind of a protective hermit-like existence can be very strong. You want to pull back and control where your energy is going, and that's good to a certain extent. But you need to keep in contact with the people that make up your support system. One of the things that can happen when you're burning out is you start to feel like you're isolated and people don't care about you, or you're a burden to other people if you share this, so you shouldn't. And that's not correct. Obviously people do care about you, but it's not going to help you to completely lock things down. So you need to know who your support systems are, and you need to push yourself to engage with at least some of those people, whether that is close friends or family, or if you have a personal therapist, if you have a workplace mentor, or your direct supervisor. Any of those people might make up your support system, and it's important to not push them out, even though it's very tempting to do so. So, how do you recover from burnout? Number one thing, find the source. It might not be a single source. It might be several things that are pulling more from you than what you can handle. But it's important to take time to explore the potential contributing factors, so that you can kind of zone in on where you can draw boundaries within those aspects of your life. Another thing that you could do is make immediate changes. Evaluate your existing commitments and consider canceling or rescheduling a few of them. The immediate relief that this brings might surprise you. I dropped one of my commitments yesterday, and I feel like $1 million because it was something that was not adding to my life. It was pulling from my life, and I didn't have that to give to it right now. So I was cutting that aspect of my life short. I wasn't giving it my all, which was disappointing to me. It was adding to the spiral of my own stress, and acknowledging the fact that I just couldn't do it right now and stopping doing it was a huge relief. I feel great. So consider where there are places that you can make immediate changes. Another thing that you can do, which I believe I alluded to in the last slide with regard to your support systems, is talk to someone. Talking to someone you trust can be a great way to begin sorting out your feelings and identifying potential solutions. Something to keep in mind is that there are good people to talk to, and there are good people to vent to, and there are also people who are not so good, and you need to know what makes a good listener, right? So someone who is going to not try to solve your problems for you, somebody who is able to empathize without taking on the burden of your problems. So it's like, oh, my boss is asking a lot of me. I'm feeling really stressed. And so then, they're like, well, I hate your boss. Your boss is a cow. Well, Greg, that's really rude. Right. So you want to talk to people who also have good boundaries. So knowing who is a good person to talk to is an important part of kind of getting yourself on the road to recovery. And that's an important thing to note here, is that these things they're ultimately in your control, and they have to be, because it is your life and it's your mental space and it's your body, it's your future. So other people can support, and other people can nudge, and other people can ask good questions. But at the end of the day, you're the one who decides if you get out of bed and go outside. You're the one who decides if you're going to eat comfort food or eat something more balanced. Like, you're the one who decides how you're going to spend your off hours, whether you're going to zone out or whether you're going to engage with yourself and do some self-reflection. It's all in your control. So it's important to kind of note that you want to pick good supportive people to be in these roles for your life, because at the end of the day, it's on you. So a couple more ways. Examine your options. This might mean looking for a new job, or distancing yourself from a friend or family member that draws too much from you. I didn't say this earlier, but one of the signs that you might be burnt out is actually like escape fantasies, where you might be dreaming of moving to a new town and starting completely over because everything is pulling too much from you. And so, that's something to consider is, well, what options do you have? Do you want to try something new? Do you want to maybe ask a person to not be in your life anymore? Is there something that you need to do in order to make the necessary changes to feel better? So examine your options, give some good thought towards what's in your life and what might need change. And then set boundaries. Setting limits on the time you give to others, avoiding overcommitting to friends and coworkers, learning to say no. For myself, I no longer make plans on Sundays. Sunday is my day to do whatever I need to do in order to feel good about the week that passed, the week that's coming. Sunday is my day to run errands or do nothing. So I don't make plans on Sundays. This is how I ensure that I'm not overcommitting myself. I will do things on Sundays if I feel like it, but I don't plan in advance anymore. So whatever you decide is the boundary that you need, you have to take it and set it. And then you need to respect your own boundaries too. Because if you make a decision like the one that I made, that I'm not going to make plans on Sundays anymore, but then the first person asks you if you want to get together on Sunday and you're like, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. You've immediately violated your own boundaries. And that's on you. So you need to set and respect your own boundaries. And then the last thing is, remember what makes you happy. I don't know if anybody else has ever had this experience, but a couple of years ago, I reached a point in time where I felt like I was really, really far from the things that actually make me happy, the things that make me feel like me. So my suggestion is to make a list of the things that bring you joy, and then make time for those activities every single week. Make it a part of your habits to do those things. I hope, for your sake, that none of you have ever reached a point in time where you're like, I used to have hobbies. What are my hobbies? But it happens. I can tell you, it definitely happens. And so you want to make sure that you are engaging with the things that you once considered your hobbies. And then the last thing is just to remember that you are not alone. We are all going through these feelings together. Everybody is working. Everybody is trying to have some kind of personal life. Everybody is experiencing family drama or friendship drama or relationship drama or loss. We're all going through things. So you are not by any means alone in this in this wild world that we are living in. And so take time to identify the people that you feel comfortable speaking to, and then make a point of connecting with them on a reasonable schedule. It doesn't mean you have to put it in your calendar, but maybe it would help if you set yourself a reminder. It's like, hey, you're going to call X person every Thursday or every third Thursday or something, to make sure that it's on your schedule. Make sure that you know how to connect with your mental health care providers. Don't wait until you're already in crisis and you now need to summon the energy to find the correct information and like struggle your way out of it in order to just, connect with somebody that you should have probably connected with before now. Don't wait until you're in the pit to try to set up ways to get out of the pit. And then it's never a bad idea to just take the time to speak to an expert. If you're starting to feel like things are spiraling or moving out of, your comfort zone, take time to speak to an expert now. The number on the screen here is the number for the local crisis line. So you can call that number, and even if they can't help you, they'll be able to direct you to other people who can. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and then we can talk. If anybody wants to put their cameras back on, I'll feel less alone. So what do you guys think? How are you guys doing?
I think one thing that I notice is the difficulty in asking for help because the perception of it makes you weak.
Yep. Absolutely. Do you have like a single person in your life that you're okay appearing weak to? Something to consider.
Not really.
I was actually, we could probably stop recording now, and that'll be the end of the webinar.